So bebop was the kind of jazz that was also influential on you and your own life journey. And it's this complicated, legendary kind of jazz that was very influential on the music that followed. So what was bebop?
Well, after the big bands were happening in from the 20s through the 40s, small people would go out and play in small groups that they would tour with. And Charlie Parker, who's really kind of one of the main figures of early bebop, really developed the language of it. Usually the music that they're playing over are standard chord progressions that they would use as vehicles to improvise over. A lot of them were AABA form. And Charlie Parker created this language of improvisation that was far more sophisticated than the swing players of the big band era. Think of people like Benny Goodman of that era. They would have really fast tempo songs, angular lines, chromaticism, things like that, chromatic notes.
Chromatic notes are just notes next to each other on the fretboard.
I like to think of it as connecting notes.
Connecting. You're putting in more notes than are supposed to be there, and so creating some interesting texture.
Yeah, so that is one of the most difficult styles to master because all these things are a language.
Yeah.
Blues playing, they're all just languages, right? It's like just like you'd learn any type of language. My dad loved bebop. Now, when I was a little kid and he's listening to these bebop records, whether it's Charlie Parker or Dizzy Gillespie or Oscar Peterson, Joe Pass, great jazz guitar player, I'm just hearing this stuff. I don't know any different. My dad was not a musician, but for some reason, he liked incredibly sophisticated music that was very technical. And I just heard it and just was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. And not realizing that it was developing my ear because bebop is one of the hardest to improvise in that style, in that language of bebop. It's very difficult to do. And hearing it as a kid is one of the things that I think enables you, just like languages, enables you to learn it as opposed to somebody that's never been exposed to it and tries to learn it as a teenager. So I think it's very similar to learning languages, which kind of is like my theory on perfect pitch, that every child is born with perfect pitch and they start to lose the ability around 9 months when people become culturally bound listeners, when babies do.